Well, let's now demanding to the audience if there is any questions, and I hope it's not every day we have someone talking about his work. It's so fantastic. I'd like to ask you, go on. You can do it in Portuguese if you want, or in French, and I...
Chamo-me Jorge, sou ator. Há pouco falou na questão da criação e como é que ela acontece com diferentes diretores. E quando cria espontaneamente, não sabe exatamente o que é que vai surgir. Como é que a Juliette lida com a recriação contínua quando algum diretor lhe pede para recriar exatamente o que fez no take anterior?
You talk about the creation, and when you are creating with a director or something, and how do you feel when the director asks you to repeat once more, and once more, in the same way?
Sometimes. My latest film, there was no rehearsal, so you've got to plunge into it without thinking, and that's the deal. And with Kieślowski, for example, we had to repeat 5 times and 1 take. And the thing is, with Kieślowski, I would repeat and do it, well. And then the take, and he said, but you didn't do exactly the same as you did on the rehearsal. I say, of course not. I'm not aware of what I'm doing. That's the deal. I'm plunging into it, and that's the risk I'm taking. As you're taking the risk as well with me, we have to, both of us, not know. So there's been some adjustments, but mainly I don't want to know what's going to happen. I know I'm in the mark and all that. I'm lucky enough that I'm usually okay with that. I don't have to I'm not a meter away, or I'm usually quite precise because it's in me. But nevertheless, inside, I somehow know how to relate to what I'm playing if I prepared well or if I'm present. But the moment it happens, it's like the painter. If you say, do you know exactly what you're going to do? The painter says, no, let me do it, then I'll tell you afterwards. But not before. It's the same with acting. It's a movement. It's a gesture. And so I allow myself not to know. So sometimes it drives some directors crazy, but that's the deal. Haneke is very precise in that way. He likes to be almost like music, so with a measure. But also he's happy to be surprised by what's happening. So it's an adaptation you've got to have. But for me, that's the challenge of a take. And that's why I love doing it. I can do it 100 times. I would love to do it 100 times. Because for me, it has to be like the first time. It should be like this when we make love, right?
Hi, I'm Raquel. I would like to know what kind of dance you did in your dance show. And also, you already talked about how everything is movement and how you always relate it to movement. But what were the main differences that you felt between dancing and acting, and how much more easy or more difficult it was to tell a story through only movement and not talking, if I made myself clear.
With Akram Khan, thank you. With Akram Khan, the dancer and choreographer I work with, what we did is that we improvised a lot, and we recorded our improvisations together for quite a long time. And then after that, we would watch it together and choose the parts we liked. We knew it was about a relationship, so the question was like, what could I bring to dance as an actor? That was my main question, because I'm not a dancer. I don't have the muscle. I was not trained at 7 years old, repeating movements and having this, strong core as a dancer. So how do I invent myself into that world? It was a huge question for me and very challenging. And of course I was training all the time, every day, but still, when it comes to exercise, it's one thing. When it comes to movement, it's another world. And what I discovered is that emotion is my truth. If I start from my feelings, from my heart, from my cells, that would make me dance. So how would be the movement from a feeling more than exercises, repeated exercises? So I actually invited my acting coach to come and work with us, Akram and myself. We worked with her for about a month, and it was so interesting, to work with her as well, because it really combined those big questions about dance and acting. How can we relate it? What I faced was the difficulty was the memory of the body was different, because I train my memory emotionally, because I don't learn the lines. I can't. I can't act with just my lines being in the head. The memory has to come from inside. So how would I memorize the body movement with what I am? And my memory system. So I actually had to learn the movement through emotions. And that's how I would learn a movement through that. So I had to invent a system in a way, but I have to tell you, sometimes it was hell, because I didn't remember anything. And so I had to work so hard. And because it's really a training, you train as dancer to repeat things, and it comes into your body. And as for me, as an actor, if I have the emotional memories, it's there. The lines comes just right, when I know what I'm doing inside. So it was a big work, a lot of struggle. A lot of conflicts as well, but a lot of reward as well. Yeah.
Juliette. Boa noite. Então, o que eu saber, je vais peut-être parler français.
Yes.
Je voulais savoir, en fait, je suis une personne qui est assez timide au jour le jour. Et je voulais savoir comment tu es. Enfin, ça rejoint un peu ce que tu viens de dire avant. Et est-ce que quelque part, toi aussi, dans ta vie, tu as été un peu timide à certains moments, et comment tu as franchi le pas? Même si je comprends après qu'en faisant de la scène et de la scène, forcément, on prend de l'assurance et après, ça devient une facilité. Mais est-ce qu'il y a eu un petit moment où il y a eu ce petit passage où il y a eu de la timidité et à partir duquel tu as pu prendre le pas et prendre beaucoup plus confiance en toi et après coup t'épanouir dans ton art et dans le cinéma?
Ele está só a dizer como é que, quer dizer, que ela é uma pessoa tímida e de certeza que ao princípio que era muito tímida, e como é que através do seu trabalho e isso tudo, como é que venceu, pouco a pouco foi vencendo a timidez, no fundo.
I'll answer in English, right? Yeah. So it's about shyness. I think in a way we're all shy when it comes to be naked in front of people, physically or emotionally. There's always a shyness. But my way to overcome my shyness is when what I have to play is stronger and more important than myself. It's as simple as that. That I'm serving something bigger, higher, more interesting. I'm using everything I can in order to make it into an art form. And I'm very lucky because I can use anything of my life, my crappy sides, my dark, whatever, the joy I want to share into a bigger space. And that's, for me, that really creates the freedom. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Paula. I was wondering, not so much about the shyness, but have you ever been proposed with a character or in a film where maybe you felt blocked or you didn't know exactly how to approach this character and felt maybe stuck or even afraid to fail, and how you overcame that pursuit?
The blockage can happen because there's a lot of pressure, whether it's outside pressure, the weather pressure, or whether within yourself sometimes you're not there. The presence is not there. But I believe if you start preparing from very in the morning and you have all your prep with you, it never goes away. So it really, the prep is the key for me. But what I found is that the best way to deblock when you're blocked is to accept the blockage. When you accept that you're really the worst actress, the worst being you can possibly think of, when you really accept deep inside of you, it's just by miracle, it just happens. So it's just accepting that you're nothing. It's as simple as that. And I have to say that it's humility is the first step. If you don't start from the bottom, you cannot rise. And when you know that, there's no fear anymore. And I have to say, in a day of shooting, you don't know how many times I'm telling myself that. Because it's the best medicine. Because then your ego doesn't start like this. You need your ego in order to go somewhere. But it shouldn't get in the way. You're using it as a tool. It's the best tool. It's what you have. But then it's a tool. It's not the purpose. Yeah.
Good night. I would like to ask you, because I've always been curious, how it was to work with André Téchiné. There was kind of the beginning of your career. And since the roles, I feel the roles have always been very physical, and it was the beginning of your career. And I would like to ask you if there was an help or there was even more difficult.
What was more difficult? Sorry?
Being more physical in the beginning. Because I kind of feel the roles were always much more physical than the way you put yourself lately.
It's funny because I've seen this film recently, and it was physical in a way, but it seems to me that I was not in my body in a way. So it was, there were sexual scenes, and I was walking a lot in high heels, 20 degrees under zero in Paris in a bad winter. But for me, I was not related to the inside somehow. It's my voice. My voice was not in my body. But it was a challenge because I was chosen like 3 days before shooting, and it was difficult to play in a way because I had no protection. I was just going and trusting André Téchiné, who was loving with me. He was really like mentor, like a father. And I had no, kind of view, bad or good, of what we were doing. I was just going there. And that was my, as I say in the film, it was my luck in a way. Yeah. But my family didn't like that film.
I imagine. Thank you.
Just to something, when you see some of the films you have made already, some years ago, you have this distance with the work that you made at that time, or you are still completely involved the way that you made these characters, and how did you work? When you see again, for example, when you saw Rendezvous, or other way.
I think I made progress. That's what I feel. I feel I made progress. But I worked.
But there are actors that they cannot see one, even one image of them. It's incredible. I remember Marcello Mastroianni, for example, tell me, I cannot see the films that I make. It's impossible. I cannot see myself in it.
No, while we're shooting, I don't like to see any dailies. I'm not interested even in watching the dailies. But afterwards, I want to see what the difference between the inside experience and the outside experience is, like two worlds. And sometimes I feel, well, of course, that's why it's better not to go to the editing room. Probably is because you would choose other things than the director. But the director, I think, really is at his best potential in the editing room, because he really makes the film then. But it's the director's, world. But sometimes I like directors asking me what I think before they close the editing, because the breathing, the inside breathing we have is, the actor has a specific journey that is not always revealing, saying. So I feel like sometimes we can help on certain links to be made. Yeah. But I watched the film at least once afterwards. Yeah.
Bonsoir. My question regards. Yes?
Go.
Thank you. My question is about if you think that your work has changed you as a person or has influenced you as a person, and if you think that if you had not been an actress, had you been a different person or somehow gone another path?
And if. And if I come back on Earth one day, what do? I wonder. I don't know. I'm sorry. But you have a first question. I can't remember. What was it?
The work, when you working as an actress, that change your way of personally. If you change any time that you do a film, something changed on you or not. She didn't.
Yeah, probably. It's life. Shooting is life. So yeah. But sometimes very dangerous, actually. Sometimes physically very dangerous. I almost died several times, which is true. But it's part of it, you have to trust it's going to be all right, but you've got to go for it. That's why sometimes I go to an improvisation class in New York. It's Susan Batson's class, and it's called Private Moment, and you make an improvisation, and you never stop. It's somebody from outside that stops you. And once I broke my hand, but she was not there actually. Somebody stopped me, but it was too late, because there's a moment as an actor you have to abandon yourself. That's the deal. You don't act. That's why we need directors to see and stop and be a guide. But as an actor, you've got to offer yourself. You have to abandon yourself, and that's the joy of it. That's the challenge and the joy of it. But you've got to trust the person. Yeah.
Boa noite. Gostaria de perguntar à Juliette, primeiro, qual considera que foi o realizador mais marcante na sua carreira, e depois qual é o cineasta com que nunca trabalhou e que gostaria muito de trabalhar com essa pessoa. Obrigado.
What is the director that marked you more in your career, and what is the one that you didn't work yet and you would really want to work?
I was lucky to have a lot of directors. I really changed my life, revealed me. So it's hard to give names in a way because hard to answer.
And the second part?
I wanna. There are some.
Okay, I think one last question, and after, oh my God, no.
Olá, sou a Bárbara Silva, sou uma estudante de artes performativas e neste momento estou a fazer um espetáculo em que faço a personagem Ofélia, do Hamlet, da peça de Shakespeare, e queria perguntar à Juliette como é que ela consegue encontrar a emoção e a energia de uma personagem que é completamente diferente de nós próprias. Obrigada.
She's starting,
Obrigada.
what I understood, she's starting and she has to play Ophelia of Hamlet. How she can find the energy and the emotion of someone, a character so different from her, Do you have anything to say?
I think we are everything. So you have it. It's in you. It's just you have to link with yourself and her. How do you relate to her? I haven't worked on Ophelia, so I wouldn't give you any, But no, there's always a link you can make. We can play, in my opinion, we can play everything. It's just how you link it. It shouldn't link in the head. It has to link below. Yeah.
Je domine. Alors, il y a quelques années, je vous ai demandé un mot pour garder dans mon tiroir. Vous m'avez donné la vie. Je la garde pour des jours comme today. Et maintenant, je vous demande aujourd'hui une autre chose. Est-ce qu'on peut vous écouter? Quelque chose, un mot, 2, 3 en français.
Alors, il faut que je parle en français. Mon désir le plus profond, c'est en fait d'atteindre chacun dans son individualité, dans son histoire, dans ses couleurs différentes, ces ombres différentes, ces lumières différentes, pour apporter un espoir de transformation. C'est en fait mon souhait le plus profond. Parce que je crois que la transformation, c'est ce qui nous... C'est notre cadeau à nous vivants. Et c'est pour ça que je suis passionnée par ce métier, parce que c'est le métier de la transformation. Et c'est pas qu'une transformation émotionnelle, mais physique. Ça parle des cellules. Et c'est pour ça que je crois que je fais le plus beau métier du monde.
Thank you, Juliette. Merci beaucoup.